How's it going, peeps? It is now time for the Raw results / highlights and review video. I'll go over the results, some of the highlights of my opinion, and give you guys my thoughts on the show. So it kicks off with John Cena coming out, and starts off by saying that he agrees, he's disgusted by what happened last night, and then he goes on to talk about the elbow injury he has. He says, you know, the doctors told him to not compete and they would cancel the matchup, but he said no, he'd go ahead with the matchup, but he says he's not making any excuses. Last night, the better man won. Daniel Bryan beat him clean, and says he will be, you know, getting surgery though, so he's going to be out. He's going to be leaving the WWE for, you know, of course, surgery. And that's when the crowd actually starts chanting yes, yes, yes for that. And anyways, after that, he introduces Daniel Bryan, who comes out, and he gives him the microphone and leaves. And then before Daniel Bryan could say anything, Stephanie Mcmahon came out, and she says she's sorry for what happened, you know, at SummerSlam. And then she says, you know, but Triple H did what was best for business. And then the crowd starts chanting, no, no, no. Well, they start booing, actually, I think. And Daniel Bryan says, well, looks like, you know, the universe disagrees on what's best for business. And then he says, you know, he could have expected that from, like, you know, Stephanie, maybe Vince. But he said Triple H, he was a rebel, he was in D-Generation X, pretty much he didn't expect that. And then he goes on to say that, I guess it's true, when you lie with trash, you end up stinking. And then Stephanie McMahon says, you know, I know you're angry, so let that slide. And then Daniel Bryan says, what are you going to do? You're going to let that slide? Are you going to fire me? And he goes on to say, you know, you can fire, if you fire me, I'll just wrestle somewhere else. You know, sell t-shirts for my car and this and that. They go on for a while, and, you know, Daniel Bryan's pretty upset. So in the end, Stephanie McMahon, actually, at some point, Stephanie McMahon calls Daniel Bryan. She says, you know, she doesn't want to fire him. They still think, you know, he's a great, you know, competitor, you know, and that he might not be an A, but he's like a B+. So they go back and forth for a while, and at some point, Daniel Bryan knocks Stephanie McMahon's microphone off her hands. And at that point, she's like, you know, she will not tolerate this. He's acting unprofessional. So she brings out security and, you know, they escort Daniel Bryan out. Or actually, he leaves and the security, you know, leaves behind him. After that was the first matchup. It was Damien Sandow versus Cody Rhodes. And Cody actually won. He won for the second time. He won with a roll-up this time, though. And then following that, backstage, Maddox went over some comments Dolph Ziggler made on a WWE.com exclusive video after SummerSlam, addressing the whole, you know, Triple H, Randy Orton situation and Daniel Bryan. And in those comments, he said that he never trusted Triple H ever since he started working there. So Maddox says, yeah, since Dolph Ziggler's the show-off, they're gonna, you know, let him show off tonight in a 3-on-1 handicap match against the Shield. Afterwards, Paul Heyman came out and he had his arm in a sling, I'm assuming from the Anaconda Vice. Anyways, he talks about the match, Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk, and he says, you know, he's going to be the first one to admit that CM Punk gave Brock Lesnar all that he can, you know, all that he can take. And he says, where do they go from now? And he says, actually, he wants to end this family feud because he says he feels he's more of a father figure to CM Punk than CM Punk's actual father. And pretty much he says, CM Punk, I forgive you, and all you gotta do is apologize to me, and I'm gonna get you to greater heights than you've been before, get you to the main event of WrestleMania, and together we can be the best in the world. And that was pretty much it for the segments. And then backstage, you had the Funkadactyls preparing for the matchup, and Nikki and Brie Bella came up to them and pretty much dissed them. After that, the Funkadactyls came out for, you know, their matchup. It was the Funkadactyls versus Layla and AJ. Cameron and Naomi end up winning the matchup, although I missed the ending. I missed how she won the match, but yeah. Funkadactyls won the matchup. And then after that, it was the 3-on-1 handicap match, Dolph Ziggler versus the Shield. And Dolph did pretty good in the matchup. He actually held his own. He hit the Faymaster, I think, on Roman Reigns, the jumping DDT. And on both of those, he like went for the cover. And each time, a member of the Shield would come in to try and stop him, and he would actually take him out. So I think first time Ambrose got in and Dolph Ziggler just threw him out of the ring, and then Seth Rollins came in, and Dolph Ziggler actually suplexed him out of the ring, and it looked like Seth Rollins landed bad on his knee because he was holding it and it looked like it was hurt. But in the end, Dolph Ziggler charged Roman Reigns, who was like in the corner for, I guess, a jumping body splash or something like that. But Roman Reigns caught him in there with a spear and got the victory. So the Shield win. After the matchup, they actually hit the triple powerbomb on Dolph Ziggler, and that was it. Following that was Del Rio versus Sin Cara, and that was a quick matchup because Sin Cara actually got injured in the match. They started the matchup, I think Sin Cara hit an arm drag, he got Del Rio out of the ring, and then went for a suicide dive on Del Rio. And when he hit Del Rio, he fell down, of course, it's a suicide dive, and he grabbed his hand. And right away, he signaled the referee to come outside, or he was grabbing his wrist, I think. He was grabbing his wrist, and with his hand, he signaled the referee to, like, come outside. I guess he wanted to tell the referee something, so the referee goes outside right away. And then, you know, the doctor also gets there, and the referee puts up the X sign that, you know, he can't compete. And Del Rio, you know, he gets up and starts stomping on Sin Cara. And I believe Sin Cara rolls back in the ring to get away from Del Rio. Del Rio goes back in the ring, and the referee goes right, you know, back in the ring. And then Del Rio, I think, stops him one more time, but then stops. And after that, they announce, I think, Del Rio as the winner because of that. And then Del Rio cut a promo, kind of like at SummerSlam, where he said the Mexican people need a hero, and he's their hero. He's going to give them somebody to cheer for because they don't have a hero. So he's going to be that person. And then Ricardo Rodriguez came back. He came out, and he told Del Rio, you know, I'm glad I'm not, you know, representing you anymore. I'm proud to say that now I'm representing somebody else, an actual hero. He says Del Rio's not a hero. And then he introduces him, and at this point, I'm expecting Rey Mysterio, and the crowd is even chanting Ray. I'm expecting Rey Mysterio because of Del Rio's promo where he said the Mexican people don't have a hero, and he's going to be that hero. So I was expecting Rey Mysterio, but no, actually, it was Rob Van Dam. So Rob Van Dam comes out to a big pop. He goes inside the ring. Del Rio starts attacking him right away. But Rob Van Dam kicks Del Rio and then goes up top for a 5-star frog splash. But Del Rio rolls out the ring and gets out of the way. And that was it. After that, inside the ring was Zeb Coulter, Jack Swagger, and Antonio Cesaro. Zeb Coulter cuts, you know, a promo before the matchup. And then the Primetime Players come out for a matchup against them. So now it looks like the Primetime Players are faces. And I'm happy about that because that means that we might just see the Primetime Players get a shot at the tag team titles against the Shield soon. So, yeah. But anyways, as far as the match goes, Darren Young and Titus O'Neil ended up winning the matchup after Darren Young hit the gut buster, which I believe Michael Cole said he calls it the gut check. So he hit that and got the victory over Antonio Cesaro and Jack Swagger for his team. After that match, backstage, Renee Young was interviewing The Big Show. She told him there was a rumor that him and The Big Show were going to challenge, or wanted to challenge, the Shield for the tag team titles. And I was like, oh shit, hey, I freaking thought that was going to happen at SummerSlam. But Big Show says, yeah, that's true. And then Brad Maddox comes in and tells Renee to leave. He tells her to shoo. And Brad Maddox tells Big Show, I heard you also had some remarks to say about Triple H. And Big Show says, yeah, you know, it is America, freedom of speech. And then Brad Maddox says, and yeah, we support that here, but he says, you know, tonight you're going to be in a handicap match as well, in a 3-on-1 handicap match against the Shield. But yours is going to be a bit different because every member of the Shield can be in the ring at the same time. And then the Big Show says, okay, but you really want to do that to the Shield? And then he leaves. And then there's a segment where Ryback bullying somebody else. And it's like he's in a locker room, there's like 3, I guess, random wrestlers or, you know, jobbers who are preparing for something or a match or something. He tells them to leave. 2 of them leave, and the other one was about to leave, but Ryback tells him to stay. He tells him to get his bag, and he goes to get his bag, but then Ryback, I think, throws the bag. So the guy goes to pick it up, but Ryback puts his foot on the bag, and then he throws it once again, this time like in the showers. And then in the showers, he tells the guy to, well, actually before that, he slaps the guy. And then he tells him to open up the bag, open up the water, and then he tells the guy pretty much to fill up his bag with the water, which he does. And then he tells the guy to leave, and that was pretty much it. After that, it was time for Big Show versus The Shield, 3-on-1 handicap match. Just like Dolph Ziggler versus The Shield, Big Show did really well in the matchup. He actually dominated a lot of the matchup, but in the end, Roman Reigns hit a spear, and then they followed that up with the triple powerbomb on the Big Show for the victory. And then after that, CM Punk comes out to address what Paul Heyman said earlier, and one of the fans was booing CM Punk, and CM Punk actually called him out and called him fat and told him to, get in the ring, but the fan, of course, didn't do so. And then CM Punk talked about, Paul Heyman wanting an apology, and Paul Heyman saying that if CM Punk apologizes, he'll get him the WWE Championship, and he wants that. He said he also get him the main event of WrestleMania, and he says he also wants that. So he says, if an apology will get me all those things, then Paul Heyman come out. So Paul Heyman comes out. And then he says, I apologize, but I apologize for, not breaking your arm last night, that he should have taken Paul Heyman's arm off. And then Paul Heyman says, well, I apologize for what's about to happen to you, because Curtis Axel is about to go to the back, tape his arms, and if he comes back after the commercial break and you're still there in that ring, then, it's going to be a fight. So they go to commercial break, they come back, and Curtis Axel's now out, with his hands taped up, and then he goes to the ring, and he's got the Intercontinental Championship in hand. Well, it was in his waist, but he took it off. He took it off, and he was like, he took it off, and, normally he gives the IC Championship to Paul Heyman, who's usually, walking right beside him or behind him. So he kind of puts the IC Championship to the side so Paul Heyman can grab it, thinking that Paul Heyman's, walking right behind him, but he wasn't. So that was a pretty funny moment. But anyways, so he drops the championship down, and then goes to the ring. As soon as he goes in the ring, CM Punk hits him with a steel chair. And, they start fighting. They fight inside the ring. CM Punk also hits him with a ring bell. They go back in the ring, and that's when Axel, gets the advantage. He takes out CM Punk's leg. Then he grabs the steel chair and, keeps attacking CM Punk's leg, which is heard from the match with Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. And then he puts CM Punk's leg, in between the chair, and then goes up top. And Paul Heyman tells him, come on, to jump, and breaks CM Punk's leg. CM Punk rolls out the way, though, and then grabs the steel chair, throws it at Curtis Axel. They go outside. CM Punk sets up the GTS, and he hits it on the steel steps on Curtis Axel. And that was pretty much it for the fight. After that, it was R-Truth coming out for a matchup against Bray Wyatt. Pretty quick match. Bray Wyatt wins with the reverse STO. And then they showed a video kind of hyping up a brand new tag team, which looks to be Primo and Epico, but under a new gimmick. I think they're called Matadors or something like that. I might be saying it wrong. Anyways, after that, it was a tag team matchup between the Usos and 3MB. I think it was Jinder and Heath Slater. Or it might have been Jinder and Drew McIntyre. I don't know. In the end, the Usos, one of them went outside. He had Drew McIntyre and Heath Slater. So one of them went over the top rope, over the ropes to the outside. And while he did that, he tagged in the other Uso. And so he jumped onto, Heath Slater and Drew McIntyre while tagging in the other Uso, who climbed up the top turnbuckle, hit the body splash on Jinder Mahal, and won the matchup. And then they had The Miz versus Wade Barrett. Before the match, they showed a video from SummerSlam where The Miz took out Fandango. Now, towards the end of the matchup, The Miz had the figure 4 locked on, and that's when Fandango actually hit a leg drop while The Miz had the figure 4 locked on. Barrett hit a leg drop from the top turnbuckle onto The Miz, which caused a disqualification. Pretty much Fandango getting payback for what happened at SummerSlam. Then backstage, Brad Maddox tells Stephanie McMahon that he's been informed that Daniel Bryan has gone back into the building. Stephanie McMahon thanks Brad Maddox for the update and then goes into the McMahon office. And then it came time for Randy Orton's championship coronation. On the stage, you had pretty much every single superstar there, and Triple H then got introduced. He came out, and he goes in the ring, and right outside the ring was the Shield. The Shield is there to, I guess, serve as security. So, Triple H starts talking. He talks about what happened last night, and he says, he's doing this for business. He did this. He says he's a fan of Daniel Bryan. He says he considers Daniel Bryan a friend, and he didn't want to do what he did, but, he did what was best for the future of the company, so the company, so the WWE would, exist in the future. And then he also says, Daniel Bryan sees this as, or has made this into a personal issue, a personal problem, and Triple H says that's just, selfish, and he has, you should take from Triple H has buried all of his personal problems with the new champion, with Randy. He says, he's buried them all for, the benefit of the business, and then he introduces Randy Orton as the future and the face of the WWE. Randy comes out, he shakes Vince's hand, shakes Triple H's hand, and then he's waiting for Stephanie Mcmahon to shake his hand, and, they wait a little bit, but then Stephanie McMahon hugs him, and then he, cuts a little short promo just saying that, he did tell us that it was going to be, we weren't going to see it coming when he cashed in that briefcase. He then says, although he's not somebody to really thank people, he would like to thank Triple H, because if it weren't for him, he wouldn't be holding this right now, the championship. He gives the microphone back to Triple H, who, pretty much, he tells Daniel Bryan to come out. He invites Daniel Bryan to come down to the ring and, share his thoughts, to say what he wants to say. So he says, come on, let's encourage Daniel Bryan to come out here. Let's start chanting yes, yes, yes. He asks the people if they want to see Daniel Bryan, so people start chanting yes. And then he says, come on, play his music. So they play his music. They wait a little bit, and Daniel Bryan comes out from, not the stage area, not where they usually come out, but, from the side. He comes out, and Triple H also, told the Shield to, go to the side, so Daniel Bryan doesn't feel scared. He says that he's probably scared of coming out. So he told the Shield to go to the side, then Daniel Bryan came out. He's about to go in the ring, but that's when the Shield actually attacks him. Shield attacks him, but Daniel Bryan fights back. I think he hit a kick to the head on Seth Rollins, and also flipped over Dean Ambrose onto the ramp. Then he started heading towards the ring again, but before he could get there, Roman Reigns speared them. And then they tried setting him up for the triple powerbomb, but Triple H said to, let Daniel Bryan go, let him, get in the ring. And he started talking to him like a little kid. He was like, come on, Daniel Bryan, get up here. He was, crouching down while he was saying that to him. I was like, come on, is that all you got? Come on, Daniel Bryan, get in the ring. So Daniel Bryan gets in the ring. Right when he gets in, Randy RKO's him. And that was it for that. After that, the McMahon celebrate with Randy and raise his hand. Now, what did I think about the show tonight? I liked it, and I liked the new direction where it's anybody who says, something bad about Triple H or something like that, they get punished, and I think it's gonna make for, maybe down the line, a faction versus faction matchup, so, a faction that represents the McMahons and Triple H, as well as another faction that would, team up with Daniel Bryan or something like that. Anyways, as far as highlights, definitely the last segment and the CM Punk promo, especially. I didn't expect them to call out that fan. Oh yeah, and also I can't forget the Primetime Players turning face. I'm a fan of the Primetime Players, and now that they're face, they picked up a victory over the Real Americans, and I think they're gonna get a title shot pretty soon. So I hope somewhere down the line the Primetime Players do win the tag team titles. Anyways, as far as a rating, I would give it an 8 on 10. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, as always, you can click that like button down below. I'd really appreciate it. And with that said, I'm out, guys. See ya.